What's up, Bronco Nation? My name is Nick Wade with Bronco Nation Updates, and I am joined by former Bronco second baseman Abby Baumkrot and Sam Gillette from Sam's Talk Sports. This is Bronco Talk, and we are reviewing the 2025 Boise State softball regular season and previewing the Mountain West Conference Championship Tournament with the automatic qualifier to regionals on the line. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Right on. So just got off an awesome series here in Boise. We swept Utah State, and honestly, it wasn't looking very good for us to make the conference tournament, but we did win on Thursday. That got us a 6th seed, and by sweeping Utah State, that bumped us up to a 4th seed. So in this episode, we are going to cover the season overview. We had Abby with us early on in the season, right before the homestand at the Blue Collar Classic, and so a lot has been played out since then. The Broncos finished with an overall record of 33-20. And in their Mountain West Conference record, they ended up finishing at 500 at 11-11. Some of the key victories and challenges that they faced during the season were the early matchups. I thought against Nevada and Fresno State really set the tone for the whole season, especially the conference play for us. And then we were able to, like I said, get back even at 11-11 with that end of season sweep over Utah State. So, what did you think about since our last meeting before conference play? What did you think about this season, Abby?
There were a lot of ups and downs. From an outside perspective, I think it's really different from the inside, of course. From the outside, it looked like a lack of confidence just because there's so many young girls out on the field, like second base, shortstop. So I just think that was a huge part in that. But I might be wrong. I don't know, from the inside, of course. But that's just what it looked like from the outside perspective. So
yeah, and the preseason expectations were that Sophia Knight was voted preseason Mountain West Conference Player of the Year. And then also Mackenzie Butt was the preseason Freshman of the Year. So a lot played through that. And, honestly, from where I'm at, I thought the voters voted correctly. I do think that Sophia Knight, with the year that she had this year, actually a record-breaking year, both her and Mac had, I do think that Sophia Knight will capture the Mountain West Conference Player of the Year. She won the Freshman of the Year last year. So, this is going to be another prestigious honor for her mantle. And I might even go as far as saying that she has a good chance of being an All-American as well. So, and then for Mac, I think that she has locked up the Freshman of the Year as well. She set the 2 records for Boise State, one being home runs in the season. She has 22 home runs this season. So she broke it on Saturday with a bomb against Utah State. There was no doubt about that one. And then she also broke the record for bases on balls for Boise State. I believe she's at 37. But we'll cover that a little bit later as we're covering the offense. Do you think that the voters got it right? And do you agree that those two have a chance to receive those honors?
I think they put a lot of hard work in behind the scenes, so I think they deserve it. especially knowing Sophia. I don't personally know Mackenzie that well, but I'm sure she has a really good work ethic. So.
Hey, Nick, from your perspective, running Bronco Nation updates, how has the fan base responded to the 2025 season so far?
I just from attending some of the games, I've seen the stands a little bit fuller in previous years, and I do think that what early on in conference play kind of set the tone, and with sports outside of like football and basketball, especially with the women, it's like you will see that when there's like a little bit of doubt, you'll see like the attendance kind of drop, and that's kind of what I saw. And internally too, I was kind of thinking, I was wondering if they're actually going to be able to lock up a seat for the Mountain West Conference tournament. So, but overall, from what I saw from Bronco Nation, is support. We as a fan base, we want our teams to be successful, and 33-20 overall is successful, and even 11-11, coming back from all that adversity, that was a successful conference campaign.
Has anything about the season surprised you in terms of performance or media attention?
Well, yes, because we were coming off of that first month or so of them being on the road, and they were quite dominant against non-conference teams, and then they came in, and what surprised me was, and I guess, and it as I reflect on it, it shouldn't have been a surprise, but the struggle they had with the pitching staff, and not having that big arm like the Taylor Caddells or the Lindsey Wall Jaspers that we've had in the past. Some of those transfers that have come and given us those innings of dominant pitching. What surprised me was just Coach Schultz's way of like chess-like with his pitching, because he had to, because we have a young pitching staff. So it surprised me because of how dominant they were on in the first part of the season. But I think as they got closer to the end of the season, there was some media attention when Sophia Knight was coming closer to 100 hits in a season. That hasn't been done in the NCAA for like 23 years or something like that. So there's been a lot of media attention on that, and then also with Mackenzie Hanna and both Mackenzie Butt setting records at Boise State. Those did kind of capture the media's attention.
And Abby, looking at the 33-20 overall, of course, we had the dominating preseason, or pre-conference, not preseason, where we came in with high hopes coming into the Mountain West Conference, and then the up and down conference schedule, finishing 11-11. What's your take on how this team evolved through the season, going from the highs of pre-conference to the ups and downs of conference?
Yeah, I think at the beginning, again, like a very young team, there's only 4 girls graduating. I think they have a lot to learn and a lot of confidence to build off of. I think like later on in the season, they've evolved into a more gritty and fighting team, I guess I would say. I think the confidence has grown though, especially with like, I've watched Quinn. She hit a home run yesterday, and Chloe hit a home run yesterday, and then Mackenzie hit a home, so I just think like knowing your role and being able to like build that confidence and like know like you're important to the team,
yeah.
Like you play a big part and like role on the team. I guess so.
From a player's lens, whenever you were on the field, what do you think this team has done well, and what might be holding them back?
I think what's holding them back, it's probably, I know we're going to talk about pitching, but I'd just say all like walks. Like there's a lot of walks compared to previous years. And then a lot more errors this year. Again, I think it's just built off of like the nervousness and like, I guess kind of walking on eggshells, I would kind of say. But
Being
I think
such a young team, that would probably play into that, right?
yeah, and like errors are normal and it's fine. You know, you're gonna make mistakes. But I just think it's kind of like the snowball effect. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, if I make an error, like this is gonna happen, or this next person's gonna make an error.
Looking for a healthy change? Just breathe and let the Organized Experience help you embrace change. The Organized Experience team masters the art of helping people find freedom through decluttering, organizing, and creating organizing systems. So if you're looking for a healthy change in 2025, give the Organized Experience team the opportunity to help you. Please visit their website at theorganizedexperience.com.
All right. So we have alluded to some of those offensive power that we saw over the weekend with those freshmen going yard. So let's dive in and look at over the course of the season, the overall offensive powerhouses. And some of our talking points will be some of the stats. The team batted .347 this season with a .440 on base percentage. They hit 84 home runs and racked in 385 RBIs. So, I mean, there was a lot of production this year, and still, we've seen less production and we've seen a higher winning percentage before in previous years. But what we want to do is we want to spotlight on some of the standout players. Sophia Knight ended up batting .498, and she's so close to 500. It seems like every other at bat, she's going over 500. So right now, she's just a touch under 500. Again, she hit a triple on Saturday that took her to 100 hits, which is a Boise State record. And also, again, this hasn't been done for 23 years in the NCAA. She scored 63 runs and she had 22 RBIs. Mackenzie Butt hit for .365. She hit 22 home runs, which is a school record for the season. She knocked in 76 RBIs, which is another record. And then again, as I said, she drew 39 walks, which is another Boise State record. So great season for Mac. And then senior Mackenzie Hanna ended up batting about .344. She's had another solid year of power. She hit 18 home runs, knocked in 52 RBIs, and she scored 67 runs, which is a Boise State record for the season. And if you look at this too, like before that, the record was 64 runs. Sophia Knight's only like four runs below that. So it's, there was a high octane for this offense. And then right now, Mackenzie Hanna is sitting at 52 career home runs, which is second all time for Boise State. I'm not sure how the tournament works, if those count towards her career. I think it does. So she still has a shot. I think she still has a shot to become the the record holder for all-time career home runs in that one. And then also we're going to spotlight a freshman here, Quinn Sutherland. She ended up hitting .378. She had 43 hits, and she had 2 bombs and 25 RBIs for her freshman campaign.
You know what's crazy about this, as far as team-wide goes, they're 15th in their batting average. They're nationally. They're 9th nationally in home runs, and they're 12th nationally in RBIs. So this is a very offensive-minded team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, and that's the thing too is what's impressive about this last series that they just swept over Utah State. Utah State was leading the conference in offense, especially in average. But so it was great that we outslugged them all weekend. But also if you look at the total of the Mountain West stats, it'll give you a good reason why opening up against Nevada and Fresno State was really tough on us, because they're ranked up there towards the top in the conference. And so yeah, what did you like? You already spotlighted Quinn Sutherland, but was there anybody else that stuck out to you on the offense, Abby?
I think Megan really stood out to me in the offense. I think she didn't really get a lot of opportunities in previous years, and like she's always been a really good hitter. But she stood out like a lot to me. Just with the power. Like I feel like you wouldn't expect that from her. Like she's very sneaky. She can slap, she can bunt, she can hit for power. I think she showed off a lot this season, and I'm proud of her. She did a good job, and she deserved it. So
yeah, we were talking, if you remember, in when they were coming into the Blue Collar Classic, there was a big time emergence for Megan, and there was, you know, she played clutch in a few of those conference games and got us a few wins because of her offense and her defense. She did kind of slow down a little bit towards the end here. She hasn't hit a long ball since I believe March 29th. So hopefully, I've been just waiting for her to hit one of those streaks, you know, and just come on again, because we need that bat, you know, to now that we're in the postseason.
Sophia Knight, it's important to note that she's 4th right now in batting average. And I know she had how many games in a row with a hit early on in the season. It was impressive. I'm not a big softball guy, but it was still impressive. And then home runs, we have Mac is up there. She's I just had it up and my screen jumped. There it is. 8th in home runs. So I mean, this team has a lot of talent on it.
Yeah.
And a lot of high-ranking talent in the NCAA. And that just builds on that offensive powerhouse argument. And if their bats get hot, it can make up for their pitching. And I think that's what we saw early on in the year, where the bats were hot, and we didn't really get a chance to scrutinize the pitching that much because it wasn't really an issue. Sophia Knight is hitting about 500. Like we said, she's ranked 4th in the nation right now. She got 98 hits. As a former player, what does it take to be that consistent at the plate, to be that elite at the plate?
It takes a lot of confidence and dedication. So when I was there with Sophia last year, me and my roommates would always go to practice early to get the extra reps, fielding, hitting, whatever it was. And she'd always be there. So it's kind of like setting that expectation for yourself. Like, if you want a goal, you're going to go get it. And she's just very like goal driven, and she's a very good teammate. I don't know. She's just a good person all around, and she deserves all of it. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Can you compare to this offense to past Boise State teams you've been a part of or watched closely? Or they stand out all on their own.
Yeah, no, I'd probably compare it to my sophomore year, probably. I don't know if it was my sophomore year or my junior year when I think we set the home run record in a single season. I'm pretty sure it was one of those. But we had like Kelsey Lawler, Kelsey Hall. Who else do we have? Bella Rocco. We just had a lot of like power hitters, and I feel like my last couple years, like maybe my junior year was like it wasn't as like we weren't full of power hitters, I guess my last couple of years. We were more of like the shorter game, base hits kind of thing. But also we did have a lot of home runs my senior year too and my junior. But yeah, I would say my sophomore year.
Nice. Nick, who else on this roster do you think deserves more attention offensively other than the ones we've already covered?
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and during the whole season, like I was just like baffled, like why am I not seeing Sydney Groves out there as much? And as the season has come to close, I'm able to do the hindsight and go, all right, coach was trying to shuffle in with the roster and using it the best way he can with the pitching staff and everything the way it was. But I do think that, early on, and I love Holly Farmer, but I do think that like we could have picked up a couple wins with Sydney's bat. But Brooklyn Pettis really kept us in a lot of those games without Sydney Groves' bat. So, I think that definitely Brooklyn deserves a lot of attention. She batted .376 with 14 home runs and 45 RBIs. But even with the limited play of Sydney Groves, and she deserves some attention too, because even though she didn't play full time as she has in previous years, she's still batted .339. She had 10 home runs and 35 RBIs. So I mean, she's a great hitter at the plate, and she's very selective. There's not very many times that she strikes out as a power hitter. And quite frankly, when she makes contact, like the infielders don't usually make the play because she hits it so hard. But yeah, those two players are probably who I think should get a lot of attention for their roles this year.
Sorry, how does this Boise State offense stack up to the Mountain West teams like Nevada, Fresno, maybe even San Diego State?
Yeah, unfortunately, we met with Nevada and Fresno State early on in conference play, and and we'll get to it in here in a little bit about the pitching, and it really looking at the standings on offense, it doesn't surprise me that we did struggle with Nevada and Fresno early on. It is awesome to note that we did overall, after those series, we did pass Fresno State on the offensive performance overall, but we still need to, if we're gonna be successful in the tournament, we're gonna have to really play like we did in that last series and pitch well, and also keep those bats just popping and driving in the runs.
The Plaza Inn owners, Jason and Selena Jungling, are huge supporters of Boise State. If you've ever watched a game, chances are you've seen them as the superfans, the Flintstones. So let's show them as much support as they've supported Boise State by making the short drive over to Ontario. Enjoy dine-in and carry-out by giving in a call at 541-889-3550 for homemade breads, pastries, and soups, or check them out on the web at plazainrestaurant.com.
All right, and we are back. So let's dive into the defensive dynamics. I know that Abby kind of alluded to it early on. We did kind of struggle with some errors there early on in conference play, but I do think that we kind of came back strong as the season wore on. In fact, I think there was one time that Chloe Hughes had an error, and so Coach Schultz kind of gave her some bench time, and then after that, that kind of helped motivate her, and she, I think she came back, and that's when she hit her first collegiate home run, and really got on. I'm really impressed with how much improvement we've seen with the defense. So. Just some talking points here. We'll evaluate the pitching staff's performance. As a whole, they finished the year with a 5 ERA. They allowed 285 runs. They did allow 56 home runs, and the opponents batted 302 against them. But like we just covered in the offensive part, we did as a team, we covered that with the 325. So really close, really shows what we had to go through this season. The staff had 170 strikeouts to 179 walks. So just like what you were saying, Abby, just a lot of walks.
Yeah.
So what did you think about, as overall with the staff, and what did you see, where we came from and how the season progressed?
Yeah. Again, like you said earlier, the pitching staff and the team as a whole is very young, but the pitching staff is very young. I think we have one senior, I think it was, and then 4 or 5 underclassmen. Again, with that is just building that confidence. It's something totally new to them, especially the freshmen. I think Olivia Bauer did a really good job coming in. I think they all did good. I just think we need to find a way to eliminate the walks. And another part of that is building the confidence and knowing you're good enough to be out there, and so I guess just the confidence piece again. But.
Yeah. It did, Coach Schultz had his work cut out for him. And, again, not having those big arms like Taylor and Jenna from the past and eating up a lot of those innings, it was, he was out there just basically, there's times where he's actually playing checkers. So I'll run through their stats. Brooke Thompson, senior, she finished the year, the regular season with a 10-4 record, 5.58 ERA. She had 1 complete game, 2 saves, 75.1 innings pitched, 55 Ks, 51 walks. She allowed 16 home runs, and the opponents batted 308. So a little bit over the average of the staff as a whole. Freshman, and you alluded to this, she really stand out to me. Olivia Bauer finished with an 8-4 record, 4.02 ERA. She had 2 complete games, one really good one down the stretch that we really needed. She had 1 save. She pitched 83.2 innings pitched, 39 Ks to 23 walks. She only allowed 12 home runs, and opponents batted 314 against her. So above the staff as a whole. Again, she's a freshman. And then sophomore Abby Dow. She was kind of the workhorse of the staff. She went 9-9. She had a 5.46 ERA, 4 saves, 89.2 innings pitched, 32 Ks to 55 walks, and she allowed 15 home runs. But the opponents only batted 291 against her. And then Julianne Rose, which I think could have the potential to be one of those big arms.
Yeah.
She finished 3-2 with a 5.19 ERA, 3 saves, 54 innings pitched, 33 Ks to 28 walks, and the opponents batted 304. And then just a notable Shannon Keegren. We didn't see a lot of her. I was really hoping that we would, especially with all the chess playing. I was hoping to get her in, especially when we were getting knocked around quite a bit. But she finished 3-1. Not as many innings pitched to be notable with these 4. But really excited to see how she comes into play, because just her style, she kind of reminds me of a Taylor Cuddell. But overall, I agree with you. I think Olivia Bauer kind of stood out to me. There's a little secret about her. When she was in high school, she actually batted over 480, I believe. So she can swing the stick too. So
yeah.
In fact, before the season started, I asked her, "Are they going to let you swing it?" And she wasn't sure, but obviously she did well. 8-4 is nothing to sneeze at. As far as the defensive players and strategies, what kind of stuck out to you is some of those defensive plays of the year, or keys, the backbone of our defense. What stood out to you, Abby?
I think the outfielders did a really good job. I think what was hard, like in my previous years, it was kind of not. We practiced a lot of like wall balls, so like reading the ball off the wall. There was a game I went to. I don't remember which weekend it was. I think it was senior weekend, or not senior weekend, alumni weekend. And Megan made a play off the wall that was really good. And me and Jordan Hutchins were in the outfield talking about it. She's like, "See, like that's how you play a ball off the wall." Like we just talked about it because she was in that position too. I think they've done a good job with like reading balls in the outfield. And then for the infield, I would say our catchers have been doing a really good job as well. We never really had like a catching coach, I guess you would say. Like Schultz would be our like catching coach when I was catching, at least. But like I think Coach Tara's done a really good job with them because we never really had that in the past, I guess. So shout out to them.
I forgot about that. You were a utility too. Like, I think I have a photo of you catching at one point.
I know, from years ago.
Yeah, but you know what? Interesting that you said that. I saw Mackenzie Hanna do the wall ball on Saturday. Like I'm like, she missed the catch, and I'm like, dang it! But then she allowed it to bounce right off the wall, and she nailed the runner at second base. It was awesome.
Nice.
For me, like what stood out to me is like after they settled down at the beginning of the year with the errors and that that teamwork between Chloe Hughes and Quinn Sutherland at shortstop and second base was pretty good. It reminded me of the days of Aaliyah and Abby Baumkrot. Right there in the middle of turning 2, and so I think those two are going to have quite the careers, right there in the middle. And then again with you, I agree. I saw Megan Lake make some pretty good, spectacular plays there in left field. Areas of improvement as they approach the tournament. Something that I noted was, again, like I think it would be really beneficial to be able to stretch that pitching, from the starting pitcher from the circle, stretch that as far as you can into the game instead of getting knocked around and inserting the next man up. So to me, I think that the offense is going, but really it's like I don't know if you agree, but during the season, I just watched the momentum. Like it seemed like if the pitchers started out rough, it was really hard for our team just to match that offensive power that they needed to do to stay in the game.
Yeah. I would say one of the biggest things I think for like the pitching, well, I guess like as a whole, is like the coaches like being able to like trust them to like get out of it rather than like pulling them instantly, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just like, yeah, like they're gonna get hit around, like it's bound to happen, but like I don't know how to say this. Give them like a chance to like get out of it. Like they're gonna have hard things in life they're gonna have to deal with. You know what I mean? So just like, I just think you should just keep them in there just to, I guess, build the confidence that you can get out of it, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Because then you think like, oh, they're pulling me after I gave up 2 hits, like they probably don't trust me, or this person is better than, like just comparing at that point. I just think like being able to trust in the pitching staff, and like also with the players though, like being able to trust like the decisions that the coaches are making too. I don't know, because I like when I was playing, like I would just kind of question sometimes. I'm like, oh, like that's kind of like that's not something I would do, but also I'm not the coach. But then it's like, right. Oh, it ends up working out. Just like trusting the process of that too, so.
So Abby, what would your approach be to tighten things up defensively heading into this high pressure tournament where, especially game 1, you have to win or you go home? Once you get to game 2, you get that second chance, if you will, to try and make the championship game. But what do you do to tighten things up defensively here?
I would say like building off of this last weekend, offensively and defensively, just because once you get on that like high, I guess you would call it, like you're gonna be on like that high, like, okay, like let's go get this. And it's the same team that they just swept. So it also gives them like, okay, like comfort in we can beat this team. Like easy. We just swept them last weekend. Like the defense was good. Our offense was amazing compared to like previous weekends. So just like keep rolling with that, I guess. And like knowing that you're capable of beating this team because you just swept them. So.
Do you start the same lineup for pitchers that you did when you just swept them, or knowing that you have pitchers in the pocket that can pitch against the batters, do you maybe start someone that's a little less successful? I don't know if that's the right word or not, but a little further down the roster. Do you give them the start knowing that you have pitchers that can come back in so that you save your bigger guns for deeper in the tournament?
Yeah, that's kind of like a harder thing though, because just like you think about it when you first start the season, when all the freshmen come in, there's no film out there on them whatsoever. So I just I really like watching Julianne pitch because she has a lot of power, and she throws a really good like off speed. And so I think maybe starting her. I didn't really watch this last week. I don't know if she threw at all, but I think starting her would be good, and then closing with either Abby or Brooke. But I think starting her would be good, but I don't know.
And there's no Abby bias there, wanting her to close.
No.
Nick, from a coverage and storytelling angle, Do you think the pitching struggles share or they're overshadowed by how good the offense have been? I know we kind of touched on that a little bit earlier in the show, the offense being able to kind of hide the pitching woes that we've had. But from the coverage angle, how do you see that?
No, not at all. Even though we did struggle with the pitching, when you have Sophia on a 38 game hit streak and 44 games in a row of making it on base safely, and then coupled with a freshman who's breaking records, and then the senior who's chasing the overall home run record. I think that's going to overshadow any kind of struggle that they had with pitching. And in fact, that's what I saw. And I think I cover softball more than most people. So outside of me, I think the offense grabbed the attention more than the pitching struggles did.
Have the fans been more vocal about what they want to see from the team defensively?
So earlier on, I did see maybe a couple comments about some of the errors, but after they kind of cleaned that up, really hasn't had anything. And like I said, with that combination of Hughes and Sutherland, like it's becoming where it's automatic, and individually they are making some web gems themselves, right? Like diving and making those miraculous catches. So yeah, I think they're in a really good spot as far as public relationship with the media and the defense. I think it's really coming together.
Whoa! Have you seen the prices of eggs lately? Are you interested in healthy alternatives? Check out Rowdy Farms for your fresh quail egg subscription and quail farm side hustle. Alexis is very helpful in educating and raising quail and setting up gardening for Treasure Valley residents. Get a hold of her at rowdyfarmsllc@gmail.com.
All right, now let's talk about the Mountain West Conference standings. So over the weekend, Nevada clinched the regular season championship with the 18-4 conference record, with Fresno State and San Diego State right behind them. San Diego State with a 16-6 record, and Fresno State at 15-7. And again, like I said, Boise State ended up with a 500 conference record, which I'm pleased with. Like I said, I would there were times when they were like 8-11, I was like, okay, well, they're gonna have to sweep, and if they want to make this, they want to make the tournament, and then. And lo and behold, they swept over the weekend and knotted that up. And that really puts everything in perspective. We did start the season out with Nevada and Fresno State, and as of right now, the seeding has Nevada at 1, and then Fresno has the 3rd seed, with San Diego State with the 2nd seed, and all 3 of those we struggled with. Team batting, we did great. We were 3rd in the conference, and then as far as our competitors' strengths in pitching, again those 3 foes. 1, 2, and 3. They all have pitchers in the top 10 in the conference. We have our lone pitcher is Olivia Bauer, who's It looks like she's ninth in conference in a lot of those categories. I'm going to bring up the brackets here so we can take a look at them.
I will say this, as far as obviously we need to continue the sweep of Utah State and go ahead and knock them out of the tournament. But we went 1-2 against Nevada, 1-2 against San Diego State, and Fresno State swept us. So of the matchups, the only one that we might want to look at as we want to get revenge on them would be Fresno State. Everyone else, they know that they can beat, so there's that confidence there that, hey, we've beat these guys before, let's beat them again.
Yeah, and I do want to say too is, and we did struggle against San Jose State. They have really good pitching, very good pitching, and I don't know if Abby, if you saw that series,
Yeah.
if you watched it, extraordinary pitching. So I'm glad they're on the other side of the bracket than us, and I actually think that we're set up really good. You know, all things considered, I think we have a favorable path in the tournament.
Yeah, we just need Fresno State go ahead and knock San Jose State out.
Real.
And then when San Diego State beats Fresno State, and then we beat Nevada, and then Nevada can beat Fresno State, and then we'll go ahead and go beat San Diego State. And that way we get down to the people that we know we can beat.
It's been a tough conference year for us. Very tough.
Obviously, we're talking about Nevada. They dominated the conference at 18-4. Nick, what separates them from the rest? And does Boise State realistically compete with a team like that to go ahead and take the crown?
Yeah, like I said, it was a big disservice for us to enter into conference play immediately against Nevada. As the season has progressed, Nevada's top on when it comes to offense, and then again, like I said, they have pitchers in the top 10. So you do the math, right? And it makes sense why we struggled so much with them. But I will say, the team that Nevada played in the beginning of conference play is not the same team. That we've had.
Yeah.
Our freshmen have been able to grow, and again, let's see. But first, I think the mindset for the Broncos are, I think they're, it was great that they finished the season off with that sweep against Utah State, and again, it's very favorable that they're matched up against the same team that they just pummeled, and so that'll just continue to grow their confidence, I think. And if they win against Utah State, then they get to prove their weight against Nevada again in different circumstances.
What are the media narratives you're seeing heading into Mountain West tournament, Nick?
Well, I think one of the narratives are, that we didn't do very well against the top seeded teams, right? We struggled with Nevada, San Diego State, Fresno State, and even San Jose State. So but to go to the credit that we do deserve is that when we headed into that series with Utah State, they were 11-8 and we were 8-11. So we were able to first we clinched the 6th seed in the tournament when realistically I thought that was in doubt, and then to go from the 6th and then to really play some very all three phases of the game like perfect. Those really helped us jump from 8-11 to to give us that 500 record in the conference schedule. Abby, who do you see as Boise State's toughest matchup in the bracket, and what's their path to a deep run?
I'd say I feel like it's a tie between San Diego State, Nevada, and Fresno. Probably Fresno though. They're a lot more. I mean, they've always been like a scrappy team. I talked about it in the previous podcast, but I feel like all three of those teams are very scrappy. They have a lot of speed. But Fresno, I think they have a really good pitching staff. The lefty, I don't remember her name. I can't remember. Soraya. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I don't know how to say her name, but I faced her when I was there, and I really had a difficult time hitting off of her. But I'd have to say Fresno, especially with the opening weekend too. I feel like you go back to like, okay, well, we played them then and got swept, so now we're screwed. Like, that's how you think, but also like the team has evolved and changed over time. So I think they'll do fine though. They just need to be confident and like know you can beat this team. Like, we've beat them before. It's nothing new, you know. So
yeah, hopefully low memory on that, like not even remember what happened. But yeah, Cece, she had a 1.77 ERA in conference, 9-1 9-1 record. So yeah, she dominated, and I'm glad that they're on the other side of that bracket.
Yeah.
So we just keep winning, and hopefully we don't have to play them. And they're playing a very good pitching staff in San Jose, so that's very favorable. I guess if you were in that locker room, what would your message be to the team heading into tournament play? Are we thinking about one game at a time? Are we trying not to remember some of those early series against those conference foes that took us to the woodshed? What's the message?
I would just say play with the short-term memory. Like, you're not gonna, I don't know. That's not gonna affect you now. I would tell them to play for each other. That's like the most important thing. Especially playing for the seniors, like this could be their last game. So just being confident and being able to have each other's backs.
Elevate your hydration. Unlike ordinary water, boosted oxygen water features unique oxygen composition, providing a higher oxygen content for superior hydration. Experience the next level of hydration with boosted oxygen water, meticulously crafted to invigorate your body with enhanced oxygen content. Ideal for fitness enthusiasts and wellness seekers. This water offers a revitalizing boost that goes beyond ordinary hydration, helping you stay refreshed and energized throughout your active lifestyle. So, if you love the Big Blue, make sure to pick up the blue bottle in your local and online Walmart stores.
All right, and we're back. So, heading into the Mountain West Conference tournament, it's being held at San Diego State. They get to host it. They took the regular season championship last year, and also got that AQ to regionals. So they are hosting. First game for the Broncos is on Wednesday, May 7th at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. And we'll be able to watch that online on the Mountain West net. Also, if you are in California, around the San Diego area, support the Broncos. Go to the tournament and root them on. Could you give us some perspective on the team's growth and resilience, and how they're gonna what to do with that going into a conference, especially with a young team that we have.
I'd say like building off of that sweep, just like competing. Like you have nothing to lose. You made it to the tournament. Like go all out, play for each other. Just build off of that last weekend. And I don't know. That's something we did really well with when I was there. After like a sweep or a win, like we were on a high for a long time. And I mean, you're not always going to win, but like once you like build the confidence up, like, oh, we just swept this team. Like we're going to go in, we're going to win that one first, and then we're going to beat everybody else. So I don't know, just the right mindset and being positive.
One thing about this year's team you think the general public is overlooking?
Yeah, I think if the general public is just looking at the record, right, especially the conference record, the 11-11, it's not just an 11-11 record, 500. Overall, what I saw in this team was a lot of growth, and a lot of expectation too, heading into this season. And Coach Schultz challenged the team to win 40 games this year. They weren't able to accomplish that goal, but I think with what they did and the adversity of having such a young pitching staff, and even in the infield, we had three true freshmen out there. I think if you just looked at the 33-20 overall record and 11-11 conference record, you wouldn't think that much of it. But you know what? I actually think it was really rather spectacular what happened over the season, because even as a general fan like myself, there's a lot of second guessing as a fan on coaches. That's what I do, like, internally. But as it progressed, I'm willing to go look back at that and review and go, you know what, Coach did awesome with what he was working with, right? And maneuvering, the staff that he had, the questions I had about, why isn't Sydney out there, and and stuff like that, when Holly's struggling at the plate. And Coach Schultz made decisions based on what he needed at, on defense on third, and then also just juggling that, the staff. I think he did a great job, and finishing off the season with that dominant sweep. That's what I think that the general public needs to see. What a remarkable year it was. They faced adversity with that the younger age, and I thought that they're in a great spot at the tournament. So that's what I would say is if the general public is just looking at the record right now, it's much more than that.
You made mention earlier in the show that you cover Boise State softball more than most, and maybe even more than anybody outside of Boise State's own media pages for them. What does this team, or where does this team rank among the recent Boise State squads, in your opinion?
Yeah, and that's another thing to key in on. As far as the public perception, they hit 85 home runs this year. Abby brought up the fact that they broke their record. I think it was in 2023, when they had Kelsey Hall and Mackenzie Hanna and everyone, and the Floreses were just, everybody was raking. So just to look at, I kind of look at that, and you know what, that and the records that they racked up this year, they're right up there. They are right up there with the championship teams. So I'm hoping that they make a deep run here and shock the Mountain West as a 4 seed and just take this championship and get that AQ.
Yep. Speaking of deep runs, Abby, what's your bold prediction for the Mountain West tournament? You think they're going to make that deep run?
I think anything's possible because I always talk about it because people are like, you think they're going to win? I'm like, they're like, well, they're the fifth, fourth, whatever seed it is. In my opinion, like the seeds don't really matter. It's just how you compete. Like, okay, it was my junior year, the first year of the tournament. We were the number 1 seed. We got upset by, I think it was the number 5. Yeah, San Jose. We were upset. Then my senior year, we were the 5th seed. We barely made the tournament, and we made it to the championship. So it's hard to tell. I feel like the whole conference is just kind of up and down about like different aspects of the game. I think anything's possible though. Like it doesn't seeds just don't matter to me, in my opinion. Like on the outside perspective, yeah, it's like, oh, they're the 5th seed, like they're gonna lose. Like, no, that's not how it works. Like it really just depends on who shows up that day and wants to compete. So
if seeding was a clear cut who was gonna win, then Vegas would lose a lot of money because everyone would just bet on the number 1 and go home.
Exactly. Yeah, I think San Diego was the 1 seed last year. Yeah, they beat us, but like previously, I think they were the number 2 seed my junior year maybe, and they ended up winning. But it's just like you don't know. Like we were supposed to play in the championship with San Diego my junior year, but it was San Jose. So it's all over the place. Seeds don't really matter. So
lastly, before we all get out of here, what advice would you give to this team as they enter the postseason to play a pressure cooker of a game? Obviously, on Wednesday they got to win or go home. What advice would you give to this team?
I would tell them to play loosely. For me, it was like every game I played, I was nervous before, especially the tournament because like last year we played Fresno. We were down 4-0 the first game, and if we lost, we were done. I remember me and Jordan were in the dugout, and I was like, dude, we're about to lose. Like this is it. And we're like sitting there like crying. And then Alicia hits a home run to tie the game, So just play loosely. Like you never know what's gonna happen. So like just go all out. Why not? So and enjoy it. So
Well, Bronco Nation, thank you for watching the show. As always, make sure that if you have any questions, put them in the comment, and we will answer those for you. And as well, share this video out to all of Bronco Nation. This is a Blue Vision production, revenue sharing with Boise State. So all those shares and likes and everything help us out so that we can kick that over to Boise State. But I want to thank you, Sam, and you, Abby, for joining me today. And hopefully the Broncos will make a deep run and take this thing so that we can keep on enjoying their season and into the NCAA tournament. So once again, thanks for joining me, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And as always, guys, thank you again for watching, Bronco Nation. Appreciate you. Go Broncos, bleed blue.
Bronco Nation Live is brought to you by Blue Elevation and the Serving Bronco Nation directory. Hey Bronco Nation, if you're looking for more followers, clients, or customers, check out ServingBroncoNation.com and get your business added to the directory. When you purchase a tax-deductible